Everyone, I'm going to be going over EEL week 22 with you all. I have a sheet that was up at the Classical Conversations website. I had shown you last week that they've got lots of free resources for you, and this was just one of the resources that they had here that they were showing. It says cycle 1 and we're not in cycle 1, but that's okay. It's still good. It's a reference sheet for essentials. Here they have listed practice sentences. They have some EEL highlights. You're going to be wanting to review all of your charts, the patterns, VLPN and SVLPA. Talking about linking verbs this week. We're talking about the compound complex structure, talking a little bit about adjectives and all purposes, and we're going to be spending a little bit of time with verbal, but the form of the verbal is the participle. So I have a sheet printed out about that we're going to talk about, and then there's some other fun stuff in there that you can make use of. So I wanted to share that with you. And again, there are lots of other resources at the Classical Conversations website. You just need to log in, go to the Essential section under the Connected tab, and there's a sample class done in a classroom. There are so many things. So definitely take advantage of that. We're in your guide on page 343. All of the information with regards to week 22 are listed here. We're almost done with the year. So a lot of this is review. Definitely putting a lot of the concepts together, so it's a little bit more complex. But what I really want to go over with you here is this participle sheet that you should see up on the screen. We talked about verbals last week. This week we're going to talk about participles. A participle is always an adjective. It always ends in ing, ed, t, or n. In other words, it's the present or past participle form, and it's diagrammed similar to other adjectives but on a curved line. And they have some examples here. If you look at the first example, a rolling stone gathers no moss. They parsed out the sentence here, and then as you see, rolling and up both are adjectives modifying stone, but do you see how rolling is on a curved line? Because roll is a verb and rolling is the present participle of the verb. So the way we show that that's a participle in a verbal is that we put it on a curved line. And we're going to be actually parsing out a sentence with this ourselves. I just wanted to show you what this mom did. It's so helpful. I think it's great. Discouraged, he sat by the dying embers. Here in this case, you see discouraged is a verb that is being used as an adjective to modify he. It's telling you how he feels. So discouraged is on a curved line under the word he. Also dying is under the prepositional phrase by the dying embers. Embers is modified by both the and dying is on a curved line under embers. And there are some more examples that you can take a look at. Again, you can download this yourself at the Classical Conversations website. It's one of the helps that's under the tab that says week 22, right on that first page of the connected page when you click on essentials. You don't have to go fishing for it. It's really right there. Really important, down at the bottom it says sometimes it's hard to tell if something is a participle rather than just a verb. Sometimes adjectives are predicate adjectives, and that's really not a participle. Arguably, this could go either way. So they're showing you how this particular sentence, you can parse it two different ways. Isn't that interesting? The first one, she was enchanted by his accent. They're saying that was enchanted is a helping verb and a verb, and it's just was enchanted is just on the line. Or you can, because enchanted is a verb form also, but it's used as an adjective. So look at how they put enchanted on the stick. She was, and enchanted is the predicate adjective. So interesting. And then underneath the adjective, the prepositional phrase is diagrammed. Those are both correct. So sometimes, we get those kind of questions in class and I don't really know the answer, but this is so great that this mom put the answer here. Now she has a second page of the participles. She has to say to beware of the dangling participle. An introductory participle phrase must modify the very next noun in the sentence. So I'm going to go back to show you, or it's a dangling participle. If you look at over here, all of these participles modify the word right before them. Rolling modifies stone, discouraged modifies he, worried modifies gardener, and wilting modifies plants. Soaked modifies by the rain, and howling modifies at the door. So those are legitimate participles. But going to the next page, these are called participle phrases. So dangling, running down the street, his shoelaces came untied. Shoelaces aren't running, right? Right? So running down the street is not modifying the shoelaces. Correct. Running down the street, he realized his shoelaces were untied. Now that then becomes an introductory participle phrase because it is modifying the right thing. Running down the street modifies he, right? Okay. Hanging over the side of the ship, his eye was caught by a piece of rope. Was his eye hanging? No. But correct is hanging over the side of the ship, he noticed a piece of rope. Who's hanging over the side of the ship? He. Is this making sense? So if you go through the dangling versus correct, you'll understand which sentences are written correctly, okay? These are really easy mistakes that we can always make in our grammar. Let's go to her next little lesson here. Participles do an adjective's job, but retain enough of their verbiness to do some interesting things. For example, raking the lawn, Tom found a dollar. So look at this. Raking the lawn is actually a participle phrase, and this is how it is diagrammed. And it is describing what Tom was doing. So it's an adjective under Tom. So it's raking the lawn. Raking, it's almost like that participle phrase has an object, right? It has lawn as its object. What are you raking? You're raking the lawn. So this is how this is modified. Tom found a dollar. Here's another one. Being honest, he returned it. Being honest, so this is a adjective, right? Being and honest are both adjectives modifying he, and this is how this is diagrammed. Becoming a butterfly, the little creature grew beautiful. So all of these words are modifying this creature. So creature grew beautiful is our basic, our subject, our verb, and our predicate adjective here. But these are all of our adjectives that are modifying creature. So the modifies it, little, right? Becoming a butterfly modifies what the creature is doing. So becoming a butterfly, the little creature grew beautiful. So these are all ways that we can modify participles, and participles can have their own direct objects and their own predicate nouns or predicate adjectives. So this is pretty advanced, but it's really interesting, right? So she has some practice sentences here that she's actually parsed out for you, and she's actually diagrammed. So I suggest you guys all go through these in detail on your own at home. And she's parsed them, which is awesome, and she's diagrammed them. And I've also written out one myself, which I'm going to do with you, but I definitely want you to do these two if you have time. If you really love diagramming, that'll be really neat. And again, this is over at the Classical Conversations website under week 22 under the Essentials tab. Okay? All right. Well, what I'm actually going to do is finish up this video and make a second video of me doing this special sentence that I made up. And hopefully I'll be able to do it with you guys, okay? All right.